I'm going to be discussing the Sun in Aquarius, Moon in Sagittarius, Jupiter in Cancer, retrograde, Saturn in Pisces at the 29th degree of Pisces, ingressing back toward Aries on Valentine's Day. And Uranus, or Uranus, I rather say. I don't like Uranus as a planet. In Taurus, direct, headed back towards Gemini. Let's interpret this like a seasoned interpreter of the cosmos. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your patience. I had a thought over the course of the last 2 days for the pauses in my videos. I was like, maybe people are going to feel some kind of way about the pauses. Maybe I shouldn't post them and upload them. You know what I mean? And so I discovered the double tap in the top right corner of the video where you can fast forward the video. I don't know if you know about that. I wanted to share that because I didn't know about it at one time. Sometimes I forget about it, but I wanted to share it. If there's ever a pause in my video and you're like, come on, get to it. Instead of waiting for it, you can double tap the right side of the video to go forward. Or if there's something that you missed, you can double tap the video and it quickly rewinds or quickly fast forwards the video. I wanted to say that. I also want to share that I'm of the mind that everybody is all 12 zodiac signs because each zodiac sign rules a body part. Yes, the 12 zodiacal signs are connected to the anatomy and physiology of in your constitution, if you will, and it's a way to connect and interpret and categorize life's experiences physically as well. Ba-da-bop. So I wanted to share that piece of information while the sun is transiting Aquarius, a sign of truth and knowledge. The key motto of Aquarius. Of all of the things that I'm going to share today and all the things that you hear me say, one of the most important features in the zodiacal chart when looking at the transits or looking at your own chart is comprehending the sun sign in depth. Not just that it's in the zodiac sign Aquarius, but where in Aquarius is the sun in your chart? Look at that. Remember that piece of information. That's a core piece of information for you. The moon is also an important piece of information for you, not just the sun sign, not just the zodiac sign that it's positioned in. Also, where in that zodiac sign? There's 30 degrees of the zodiac sign. Where is it positioned? What house is it in? These are pieces of information that by logging them into your mind, preferably the prefrontal cortex. Wow, I washed my face and I didn't even put any ointment on my face, for Pete's sake. That's fine. We'll get into that in another video. Moisturizer of the skin is muy importante. Cream Moon, happy rising. Good day to you. Thank you for speaking and commenting. Thank you. Thank you for the comments too, all of them. The good ones, the bad ones. I like all the comments on my live. That's what lives are for. Anywho, I wanted to share that information. The zodiac sign that's rising in the east is important. Moon is your ruling planet. Important piece of information. Important pieces of information to see how and when the self-destruction is coming or would occur. Muy importante. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much. You know what I forgot? I forgot to retrieve a chart. One moment. Let me get a chart to put on the screen. 'Cause I'm of the mind that the visual is important. All right. So thank you so much for your patience. Appreciate you. Be sure to thumb up the live. And if you like the content, if you appreciate the outfit, just like it. It's simple. It's a hat, glasses, um, sweatshirt, brownish reddish skin with the gray and black beard, AirPods, haircut needed. Only if you like. You can do whatever you like. Yeah. All right. So here, let's do this here. I have a chart here. Sun in Aquarius, 23 degrees. Moon in Sagittarius, 28 degrees. Thank you so much for that comment. Jesus loves you too. Thank you. While we're there, you see this symbol here. We're talking about Jesus here, metaphorically, symbolically. And I parallel Jesus with this symbol here, which is the sun. All of our saviors, metaphorically, theoretically. Why? Because it's the bringer of light, life, and joy. Notice how much joy and fun we have in the sun. Notice. Now, also, in addition, be sure, don't be afraid to put your zodiac sign in the comments, and I'll incorporate that into my interpretive video here, especially if you're live. If you're watching this video after the live, early in the mañana, between 3:30 and 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come through. I know you might be sleeping. Set your alarm. Hit the notifications. You're gonna love it here. Am I a light worker? I'm a light worker when the light is on. Most definitely a light worker when the light is on. I'm a dark worker when the light is off. Light and dark, both sides. I'm a balanced worker. Not for nothing and for something at the same time. For real. You're gonna love it here. YouTube University. Taurus. Thank you so much. A druid? Maybe. A brown one. A brown druid. If I was a druid. I'm working on my genealogy now. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. It's possible. Anything's possible. Gray Jedi, possibly. I'm doing my genealogy now. I'll let you know if there's Jediism in me, Jedi in my genealogy, my heritage. I'll let you know. I appreciate Alan Watts. Alan Watts is a Capricorn. I do appreciate Alan Watts. Taurus here. Taurus, where are you? Where are you? Taurus and Leo, I see you. Taurus, anywho, Taurus, whoever was a Taurus, anybody. Notice what's important to look at when you're looking at your zodiac sign, right? And you look at a transit chart, which is where the planets are positioned at any given time, right? Taurus here, it may be beneficial and informative to look and see what planets are in that zodiac sign. Taurus, this is Uranus, which is one of the features that I have in my discussion for today. With the sun in Aquarius, it highlights Saturn as well as Uranus. Saturn and Uranus are the rulers of Aquarius. Yes, each zodiac sign has a planetary ruler. Also important for you to know what your rulers are. The rulers of your big three. You might have three rulers. You might have four rulers for the simple fact, using the example of Aquarius. Aquarius has two rulers, not for nothing. But this planet here, Uranus, has the energetic vibration similarity to the knowledge of Aquarius energy. It's over here in Taurus, an energetic that can be interpreted as Taurus experiencing over the course of the past 7 years this knowledge and awareness, higher awareness regarding your values, valuing how you value yourself, how you spend your money. It's an up and down energy, like a roller coaster. I look at Uranus as a roller coaster energy, right? Why is this important? What does this mean? It means that over the course of the past 3 weeks, Taurus, there's been a reawakening of energy that you've experienced over the course of the past 7 days of valuing yourself, knowing your worth, especially in the area of your career, your reputation, and your overall status. Important. There's also a significance of creating boundaries around your relationships. Very important there. Taurus is a fixed zodiac sign, directly connected to Aquarius, especially now, whether you're a Taurus or not. Collectively, Taurus is significant. Taurus, there's a highlight. Value yourself. Know that you're worth it. Leo, to the average individual, when they look at the transiting skies, they would say, there's nothing in Leo. Maybe there's no energy there. Not true. Not true. Leo is ruled by the sun, which is a star. It's not a planet, it's a star. However, it's the star that rules one of the only stars in astrology that rules a zodiac sign. The main star, the star that carries all the planets, if you will. Leo, I know Leo's key motto is I will. It's I will, it's expressive. It's a zodiac sign that deals with joy. And so to comprehend Leo over the course of the past 3 weeks, we look to where the sun is. We always look to where the sun is when we want to comprehend Leos. With the sun in Aquarius, it brings a focus on themes surrounding relationships, not only intimate relationships, relationships of all kinds, and finding balance within those relationships. Why do I say that? I say that because Leo has Aquarius 7 signs away. Number 7 is significant. In the natural zodiac, the 7th sign from Aries is Libra, which is denoted as the sign of justice and equality and fairness within relationships. Let me show you. If we count Leo as 1, Virgo 2, Libra 3, Scorpio 4, Sag 5, Capricorn 6, Aquarius is the 7th sign from Leo, counting Leo as 1. Are you with me? Leos are proud. Leo is a zodiac sign that focuses on the ego. Some people think that there's an importance to get rid of the ego. I say sometimes, not all the time. And we must come back to it because it's the driving force and it can be interpreted as a symbol that shows our core, to the core, a root, if you will. It shines a light. There's a shining of a light and an awareness, a higher awareness about partnerships for Leo. Not for nothing. There's realizations of people, especially in negotiation. Leo, correct me if I'm wrong. Elizabeth, hi, how are you? Pardon the delay. Let me know if this is some people say, I want to share this too. It's not resignating. It's resonance. It's a resonance. So it's a resonate, not a resignate. Not there's no G in resignate and resonate. For the record, drop the G. In math, sometimes we carry the one and we drop, you know, In language, it's resonate, like the Schumann resonance, not the Schumann resonance. There's no G there. Drop the G, please. Drop it. Drop it, please. No need, not necessary. ¿Cómo se dice necessary en español? No, no, no. ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Mm? ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice ahí? ¿Cómo se dice? One moment, I gotta look this up. We're in the season of Aquarius. It's about knowledge and truth. A couple videos ago, a couple mornings ago, a couple sunrises ago, I was talking about how important it is for me to look up the root meaning of the word. Muy importante. Necessary. Ayomi. Necesario. I knew that, but I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to misinform you. Oh, another thing I want to say too, before I keep going here, is I would appreciate it if you didn't believe the things that I say. This is one of the most important things. Another important thing. Don't believe me, please. Um, it's best if there's something that I say that resonates, not resignate, drop the G. If there's something that I say that resonates, say to yourself, that's an interesting perspective, and then go do your research on your own by at least two sources. Dubai. I hope that goes good. I hope it goes good in Dubai too. Good luck with that. I hope Dubai is wonderful for you. I don't know what you mean by Dubai. Am I going to Dubai? I'm not going to Dubai. Not now. Maybe in the summer. I'd rather go in the wintertime when it's winter here. I'm in the East Coast of the United States. Estados Unidos en español. Hmm? That's where I am. Thank you so much. Okay, bear with me here for a moment. I just want to get situated here so I can give you this information here. I have a little weather report or cosmological report. Thank you for the thumbs up. We have four thumbs up. You can double tap, hit the emoji. It's perfect. Comment. Don't be scared. This is a safe space. If someone bothers you, let me know. Raise your hand. Let me know who's picking on you. We'll get them out of here. But for the most part, we'll work on mending the energies. Okay, where was I? Be sure to put your zodiac sign in the comments if you want. Talking about the sun in Aquarius. Aquarius is knowledge. We talked a little bit about Uranus and Taurus. We didn't talk too much about Saturn and Pisces yet. Saturn and Uranus, they're highlighted just like the sun. In the beginning of the video, I talked about the importance of knowing where the sun is, what degree it's at, where the moon is, what degree it's at, even the house placement. Significant. Cancer. Cancer. Look at this. Here. I also said in the video earlier that when you're looking at your zodiac sign, when it comes to the transits, it's important to look and see what planets are located there. Cancer, do you see this? Looks like the number 2, doesn't it? Looks like a 2 with a slash, with a vertical slash. You see that? See that? This cross, if we were to zoom in here, you see the cross and it looks like an arc, a crescent above the cross. That's the higher fortune, the greater fortune for cancers. A little bit of luck there energetically for the Cancer sun sign. A little bit of luck, a little more travel, a little more fortune, possibly between June and July. Maybe you got some bigger things going on than the rest of the year, possibly. The crab, yes, the sidewalker. I'm of the mind that it's the crab because of the simple fact that the crab moves sideways on June 21st. The sun symbolically moves sideways, sidesteps for 3 days. The solstice. When you think of solstice, think of 3. Not for nothing. Jupiter is the zodiac sign that is the ruler of Sagittarius. So there's a connection there. So Cancer, you're kind of connected to Sagittarius, learning a little bit more about your health as well, learning a little bit more about the importance of La Familia, learning about your emotions and feelings and how to stay in this upper, higher energetic, not for nothing, right? This month has been a transformative month for you, potentially, with the stellium in Aquarius. It shines a light on you looking at if other people are worth it or not. What is the value there? Do I maintain this relationship because it's good for me or no? Is the question. Perfect question. All right, let me spit a little bit of this. Uh, what does this mean for Taurus? For Taurus, it means intelligence, it means higher awareness in the realm of values for you, depending on the house location of Taurus, mainly because Uranus is in Taurus. We talked about this earlier here. You got here right on time. I talked about this just before you came in here. There's a connection between Aquarius and Taurus. Your career is also something that is highlighted ever so much more now. Your reputation, how others see you. I want to go back here to this. Bear with me. Okay, we got that. Spotify. Um, okay, air, fire, vision, plus belief. Air, Aquarius is an air sign. Fire, Jupiter, or excuse me, Sagittarius is a fire sign. This energy here, I talked about this yesterday. The sun in Aquarius and the moon in Sagittarius is a forward thinking energy together. Right? Together. So Sagittarius is a zodiac sign of wisdom. Aquarius is a sign of knowledge and truth. There. Not for nothing. Okay. Oh, where does how no, I hit that on accident. I don't even know why TikTok did that. Pardon me. Have a good day. I peace. I don't know why it's TikTok. You're so crafty. Thank you so much for that. Okay, this is forward looking, optimistic, future oriented. The zodiac sign Aquarius is future oriented. Future. I talked about this yesterday a little bit. This energy is still present for today on Thursday. Are we in Thursday? Was it Thursday? I think so. Yes, it's Thursday. Friday is tomorrow. Yes. Hype for that. Hype for that. Let's go back here. Forward thinking. I also talked about how some of these energies, right? There's a story when we look at the elements. When we look at the elements, Aquarius, air sign, Sagittarius, fire sign, air and fire, what does that bring? Put it in the chat. What do you think when air and what does air and fire do to each other? Cancer, we talked about you a little bit already in a good way. And we might talk about you in a bad way. It's all for the good. It's a win-win situation. We talked about how Jupiter is in Cancer. Not for nothing and for something at the same time. Over the course of the past 2 days, Cancers, you've been focusing on your health a little bit. Wait, should I go? Should I go to the gym? I would say no. Consult your primary care physician, but I would say if you're just beginning, I would say start at home. Do some setups, do some push-ups, let's start off with stretching first. Maybe, right? Well, we talked about how Jupiter is this optimistic energy. Jupiter and Saturn, they're so close to each other in the order of the cosmos. It goes Mars, asteroid belt, Jupiter, then Saturn. They're so close to each other. They're like two competitive teachers. Jupiter's the teacher of the higher, and the fortune is a little more loftier and grandiose, optimistic. Saturn is a little bit more strict and rigid, if you will, for the record. Saturn has been a featured, has been the prime teacher, but Jupiter comes in a little bit. Saturn needs help. Jupiter is the sub teacher, especially while the moon is in Sagittarius. It calls on Jupiter. Yo, we need a little bit of loftiness over here. We need a little optimism. Come through. So we talked about that a little bit. That's terrible advice for the damn gym. I know it might be. Consult your aerobics gym teacher. You're 100%, maybe. Stretching, though. Consult your gym instructor and consult your physical fitness trainer. Right? I'm the physical fitness trainer. Thank you so much for that. My disclaimer, it would have benefited me to put the disclaimer in there before I start speaking about working out. What I'm trying to say is that for cancers, there's a focus on health over the course of the past 2 days. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Thank you for the thumbs up, subscription, all of it. Um, so there's that. Sagittarius, Aquarius connection. What else do I have here? Why do you keep going back to the bottom of my note? Jupiter in Cancer retrograde too. So Jupiter in Cancer retrograde. I'm of the mind that retrogrades point to it's an energy of rewinding, reflecting, going back in time. For example, one of the main topics is how Saturn is getting ready to go into Aries. Saturn was already in Aries, right? And then it went back into Pisces. It still had this heat to it. Now that once it got into Aries, it became a blaze energetically, symbolically. Then it stepped back into Pisces. It's creating the steam. Now it's going back into Aries. So it went back into Pisces to cool off a little bit, but it was still steamy, if you will. And we can interpret that in many different ways, but I just wanted to share that. This is the second time that Saturn goes into Aries, but it's here to stay now. And it's a 2-year stint. For those of you who are Aries, we'll talk about that. We've already talked about that in the later videos. Check them out. We'll talk about that a little bit more when the moon gets into Aries in like 5 or 6, 7 days as well. Okay. So Jupiter in Cancer is a reflecting back on wisdom, reflecting back on accumulated learning, right? Going back to thoughts surrounding health and wellness. Because the relationship between Cancer and Sagittarius is a learning about health and wellness, not for nothing. Hermit the Frog, I appreciate that comment. What happens when fire and air combines? That's for you, Living Waters. Good morning. How are you? Uh, Ariel Escobar. Love the name. Gemini. Let's talk about it. To the unseasoned astrologer, the unseasoned eye, they would say that, oh, there's nothing going on with Gemini because there's no planets in Gemini. When we look a little bit deeper, we look at the statistics and the stats. What does Maury Povich say? The result? That was a lie. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. So looking at Mercury will give us a little bit of comprehension of Gemini. Not for nothing. CMod, thank you for hearting me. We're over here on YouTube. Come through. Right? So Mercury is now in Pisces. What does this mean for a Gemini? Gemini is a little bit more focused on their belief, what believing in themselves, right? And their public image. Not for nothing and for something at the same time. Gemini is a curious sign. I call Gemini the student. Some say Geminis are liars. I don't think that's only a feature to focus on. That's a shadowy side of Gemini, possibly. But Gemini is an excellent sign that displays and shows descriptive of duality. Geminis are excellent there of reflecting. The two personalities is a reflecting energetic that can be looked at as a way for Gemini to really be thoughtful. Thoughtfulness is important. And the thoughtfulness of Gemini, that energetic is now placed in being thoughtful around the career and having compassion and caring about how you're looked at by others. Over the course of the last 2, 3 weeks, right? There's been a lot of learning, a lot of growth for you Geminis, a lot of realizations, a lot of dot connecting. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ariel Scobar. Let me know. Share with me, mainly because of the stellium in Aquarius. Mainly because of the stellium in Aquarius. Also, for Gemini, there's an importance to, we come back to looking at the importance of rest and regenerating, a regenerative energy. Resting, going to bed on time, that's a care for the self, not for nothing. Taurus, we already talked about Taurus. Mitch, would you just keep putting your zodiac sign in there? That's wonderful. Perfect. You want to hear it again? Taurus is highlighted by Uranus being in Taurus. You know, I talked about this roller coaster energy that Uranus has with it wherever it is, right? It's a roller coaster, it's ups and downs. You know, Tauruses have been experiencing this up and down, up and down. Large amounts of money, small amounts of money to no amounts of money. Up and down, right? This month, it's been highlighted, possibly an increase in the finances. However, it's important to put some of that to the side. Put some of those funds to the side now that you're on the upswing, but acknowledge the low swing. Put some away for the rainy day, they say. It is said. I even say I recognize and incorporate that into my life. Not for nothing. Okay. Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces. This is a feature that has been impacting all of us collectively ever since December 21st when the sun ingressed into Capricorn. I've been connecting with Saturn so much and recognizing the nature of Saturn is about time and recognizing time, valuing time, and even slowing down a little bit, right? Saturn went retrograde in Pisces. Now it's direct on Valentine's Day. What a present. What a present for you Aquarians, right? Saturn's ingress into Aries. Energetically, that can look like Aquarius being a little bit more structured in their communication. It looks like setting boundaries around themes surrounding siblings. You know, Saturn's ingress into Aries really highlights the communication and the mindset for Aquarius. We'll get into that. But in addition, and for the time being now, it's been about caring about yourself, being a little more graceful with yourself. Pisces is a sensitive sign. Pisces is a caring sign, if you will, right? And Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and it's the co-ruler of Aquarius. So we get a double whammy. Every year we get a double whammy. Big bucks, no whammies, big bucks, no whammies. Capricorn, Aquarius. Discipline and knowledge both require a patience. They both require time, right? When establishing boundaries, you tell somebody once, they don't believe you because they think you're in the old ways, right? It takes time. It's something that, it's like, having the black beans on Christmas, it simmers. That takes time. Anything that evolves over time, not for nothing. So time, Saturn with Pisces with compassion. Time, Saturn with empathy, even. Time, Saturn with believing in the self, not for nothing, right? There's that. Uranus and Taurus, we talked about this a little bit. I don't know when Uranus is going into Gemini. Let's look real quick. We have time. Is that okay? We have time? Let's look at it. Let's go days, 4 days at a time. Coming soon. May? Is it May? Let's go to one day. I think we've got it. Bop, bop, bop. April. April 24th. Taurus. What a treat. What a treat. And what a tool, what a mnemonic to remember the time that Uranus ingresses into Gemini when the sun is ingressing into Taurus. Actually, the fourth day, Uranus goes into Gemini. Hi, welcome in. Uranus goes into Gemini when the sun gets to Taurus. Easy, easy way in which to remember that. Okay. Wow. Hey, I'm new to astronomy. It's astrology chart reading. Astronomy and astrology are two different things. Astronomy is more the makeup of the planets, the sizes, the distances from Earth, which is important, though. It's also important. I know what you meant. Astronomy and astrology, brothers, sisters, cousins. More brothers and sisters. They're closer than cousins, I would say. I would say this. Okay. Um, Going back to my notes. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for liking the live. We got 12 thumbs up. Perfect. All right. So talked about that. Jupiter in Cancer, retrograde. Jupiter is in Cancer is traditionally exalted. Let's talk about that a little bit. Cancer. Mandy, welcome. Thank you for the subscription. Appreciate you. Thank you for the thumb up. Jupiter. We talked about this little. I'm coming back here to emphasize the sun in Aquarius, moon in Sagittarius. The sun in Aquarius highlights Saturn and Uranus. The moon in Sagittarius highlights Jupiter. And that's the end of the chain for this video. Coming back to Jupiter to let you know that Jupiter does the best. It performs the best in Cancer. It's like an actor who, the day just was perfect. The voice is perfect for singing. If it's a show about singing and the performer is an opera singer, they're everything's good. They had their favorite meal. All the lights were green on the way to the show. You know what I mean? It's just a good energy. Life is good here, right? Sometimes on the shadow side of Jupiter, sometimes it can bring too much of a thing. Cancer has to do with the stomach. So there's a need to watch how much we eat. There's a need to, you know what I'm saying? Some of the shadow sides as well. But at basically, it points to emotional wisdom. Emotional wisdom. Family roots too, not for nothing. Jupiter does the best in Cancer. It points to the family. That's interesting how that works there. I'm not the one who creates these exaltations. I'm not the one that says that Jupiter performs the best there. That was already like that. Thanks, dear. Appreciate your understanding of universe blessings and alignment. God bless. Nanda, thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for that comment. So fulfilling. God bless you as well. Enjoy the day. Happy Thursday to you. Emotional wisdom. You like that a little bit there, right? And it looks like, or we can also interpret the retrograde. I'm pointing to this number here because it's red. That means it's retrograde. And for this chart, whenever you see the redness, retrograde, retrograde, Jupiter is the only planet that's retrograde right now, other than the nodes. This is the south node. This is the north node. We'll get into that a little bit later, but they're always retrograde. But anywho, Jupiter, of all the planets right now, is retrograde. The south node, this is not a planet. This is a critical degree, all right, for the record. But I'm pointing to this 16 degrees because is it 16? It is 16. 15 degrees is the very middle of Cancer. Of any zodiac sign, 15 is the middle. But that's significant for family and the roots and belonging for Cancers. The want to belong, the want for the family to come together, right? It points to the benefits and the opportunities that come to nurture and to mend relationships within the family too, not for nothing. And emotional intelligence. And now that the moon is in Sagittarius, it highlights those natures, those character traits that I just shared, and or going back to them. revisiting them because it's retrograde. Not for nothing. And also retrogrades, we can also look at it as a going back. We can also look at it as a turning inward. The water signs are already an inward turning energy. Cancer is inward. Scorpio is inward. Pisces, excuse me, inward. This is the water family. Not for nothing. It's more about inner growth, Jupiter and Cancer. And with the moon in Sagittarius, you're reminded energetically. What beliefs were shaped by childhood is a question. You don't have to answer it now. Just sit with it. Where does emotional security need redefining? Ooh, redefining. Good word for retro, repeat, revisit. What does real nourishment mean? Don't answer that now. This is spiritual growth through emotional memory too. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, there's a benefit. There's opportunities through the remembering of familial endeavors and circumstances. It's interesting how when we remember a pleasant experience, how it changes the mood. Ooh, look at that. Re-examination. Absolutely. All right. So there's a little bit about Jupiter and Cancer that's present, right? We have approximately, this is 12 noon. The moon will be at 28 degrees. This is going to taper off a little later on today, a little later in the afternoon as the moon then progresses into Capricorn. Has a little story. You're welcome. Thank you for being thankful. Thank you for saying thank you in the comments. I appreciate that a lot. Means like it's like a dollar. It's a little more than a dollar. It's a currency that affects the emotion. It's stronger than a dollar. So we'll get into that in a later video. But what I was trying to say was, is it's interesting how this astrology stuff, right? We can see like kind of this pattern that's formed. Like the moon is the quickest moving body. She, I say she because it's emotions and feelings and needs, even though it can also be a male energy that experiences the moon, right? But as she goes from one zodiac sign to the next, it tells like a story, tells a story, right? She learns, she educates, you know, she explores. And then after the exploration, the journey, she settles down. Capricorn is, let me take my time. Let me take a breather. Let me rest. Right. She's approaching energetically. She's approaching and zodiacally. She's approaching the solstice point. Not that it's the solstice, but she's getting ready to cross a very important threshold. The solstice, the winter solstice says that. For those that are in the northern latitudes, the summer solstice for those that are in Brazil enjoying the summer. Not for nothing and for something. That's a pivotal point. That's an important point. Whether you're a Capricorn or a Sagittarius or not, just by the moon, it's maybe a need. We're reminded to take a breather. I'm of the mind that this transit chart, that this is only one of the many tools in life, but it's a tool that can show you the calendar and it can show you the energy, right? It's a vibration, a resonance, not a resonance. Drop the G. There's no G in resonate. It's resonate, resonance. But this, the moon crossing into Capricorn is pivotal, right? We go from the end of fall energy to the beginning of winter energetically. Rest. It's a reminder. Let this be a reminder that if you've been all wound up, right? A little bit after lunch, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, maybe when you're on your way home, take a reflection time, a moment. I call it a scan. right? Ever since December 21st, I've been looking. When the sun was, when it ingressed into Capricorn, I started paying a little more attention to myself, to my body. I read this book. It's called, I didn't even read the whole book yet. I'm reading this book, one of many books. The Body Keeps the Score. I forgot the author, but we usually, I was of the mind that, you know, the scores that were kept in regards to how I feel were in my mind. But that's not necessarily the case. And so I've been on a quest to stretch my hips, my thighs and my hips, because I also did a little more research with the Body Keeping the Score, and I was like, oh wow, look at this. I stumbled upon a couple of videos, some research said that a lot of trauma is held in the hips, and I was like, oh wow. I would have liked to have known that earlier, but here we are now. So we'll start stretching our hips a little bit now to release some of the trauma energetically. Important. So fascinating to me that, and when I looked at the astrological chart with that little sidebar, excuse me, and I looked at the astrology with that, it was so interesting because I found, what did I find? I found the zodiac sign Scorpio, I found the zodiac sign Sagittarius, and I found the zodiac sign Capricorn. Why is that important? It's important because Scorpio is the reproductive organs and the groin area, and right after that is the Sagittarius, the thighs and the hips. So the thighs and the hips kind of contain and hold the reproductive area. So I was like, oh, I wonder if Scorpio, because Scorpio is a sign of intensity, right? It's a sign of emotion, right? And so maybe Scorpio is the traumatic point. Maybe that's the crisis. Maybe Scorpio is the crisis moment, and then it's held in the Sagittarius and the hips when we walk, right? That's interesting. Maybe you go through a traumatic experience or a crisis, and now you're walking crazy. Now you're walking like snuffle up against your old big bird. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I got to look into that a little bit more. I got to look into that. But what's fascinating to me that Scorpio is so close to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is where the score is kept. Scorpio is the crisis, symbolic of the crisis, and then the body keeps the score on the hips. How is that? What is that? How is that connection like that? And I was like, wow, wow, wow. And so after that, now we got to take our time. Now we got to have to assess Capricorn. You know, it tells a story, right? This is where I was going with this. Is that we can see a pattern and a story taking shape, not for nothing. How can we shift or alchemize that? You started asking questions. You started alchemizing. You started being an alchemist. Let's go. Brings a smile to my face. Let's go. How can we build a bridge here? Well, what I've done, I identify myself as a scientist and a test subject. And so treating myself as a test subject, I was identifying as a scientist. I said, hey, let's start stretching the hips. So I'm doing all these hip exercises and working, strengthening my hips. I'm trying to get my gluteus maximus muscles here to strengthen myself in the area of the score keepage for the traumas that I've experienced, looking at them a little bit. Here's another piece that's quite interesting to me when we start looking at this diagram here and incorporating our experiences. This is what I do. I'm treating myself as identifying as a scientist, although I'm not a scientist. I don't have a paper that says a scientist, no trophies, and treating myself as the test subject. When we look at Sagittarius, which is where a lot of trauma is held, and we look at the forever ship sign. When I say forever ship, that's a term that I've created or recreated. I might not be the author if we go back millions of years. However, if the score is kept in the hips, if the trauma is held in the hips, and we look at the zodiac sign that's exactly across Sagittarius, we find Gemini. Why is this important? First, I want to explain the forever ship. When I say forever ship, it means a forever relationship. You'll always find Sagittarius and Gemini looking at each other. I look at it as one hand washing the other. They both wash the face, meaning that Gemini has a little bit of Sagittarius characteristics and Sagittarius has a little bit of Gemini characteristics. And it's about finding a balance between our communication and our learning what we communicate about, how expansive we go. We can also see on this axis that Sagittarius is the teacher, Gemini is the student. Sometimes the teacher is the student. Sometimes the student teaches the teacher. But for the most part, the teacher teaches the student. But we have this play here. So if the trauma is in the hips, then it's important and beneficial for us to talk it out. They say, walk it out, walk it out, walk it out, walk it out. East side, walk it out. West side, walk it out. North side, walk it out. Talk it out. Talk, talk, speak. Right? What are we speaking about? We're speaking about the trauma, right? Acceptance, acceptance, writing out, journaling, right? What else is Gemini? Gemini is the nervous system. Gemini is the nervous system. The regulation of the nervous system is helpful when it comes to where the trauma is held, which is in the hips. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You be the judge. Figure it out for yourself. I'm just a messenger, right? All right, that was a little sidebar. And I got from that sidebar, how I got there is looking at how the moon is getting ready to cross over this solstice point. Important. No, it's not the winter solstice. No, it's not. But the moon, she's about to cross over that point. And as a reminder to reflect, to chill, calm, Capricorn, cool down, literally cool down. Capricorn, beginning of winter point. Anywho, let me move forward. I don't want to repeat myself, although it's beneficial for the nervous system, neuroplasticity. We'll get into that in a later video. So that was Jupiter. We're at Saturn. I got to there. I even got there from Saturn. We're talking about Saturn, right? What a birthday gift for Aquarius. And Saturn goes into Aries, back into Aries on Valentine's Day, right? Saturn in Pisces at a critical degree. For those of you who are in degrees, into degrees. Anybody into degrees? Quickly, I want to share with you. The ending degrees are a little, the energetic is a little mastery because it's experience. It's been there. Saturn's been in Pisces, been there for 2.5 years. Now it's at the end. I used an example the other day. I was like, if we were at a party, right? Let's say we're at a party and I was in the living room where all the astrological charts are and all the astronomical paraphernalia was. And I was chilling in a recliner. I found a lazy boy, right? I found a lazy boy. I'm at the party. You guys are somewhere else in the party, at the pool, upstairs in the mansion, somewhere else. I don't know where you are. I'm in the astrological astronomy section, but I've been here. So you come in here, oh, cosmic, what's going on? You don't want to come to the pool. I'm like, nah, I don't want to come to the pool. I'm chilling and I'm just my spot. Would you like a reading? Sit down in the chair, right? I'm experienced. If when you come in there, I'm like, hey, if you go over there, you'll find the cheese. There's a cheese board over there. Get me some of the Gouda cheese with the Triscuits. Bring me a please if you want a reading. Donation based, but if you bring me the Triscuits and the cheese, Gouda cheese, please, and some grapes. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll let that be the precursor to the reading, right? I've been there, I'm experienced, so I know I've mastered the area. That's what the later degrees are. In the beginning, look at Mercury here. Mercury's at the sidebar. Mercury's in the beginning of Pisces. Mercury's in the beginning, just got there. This would be you coming in. Hey, cosmic, what do you're too good for us? You don't want to swim? No, I don't. I'm in the astrology room. I'm chilling with the cheese board. You guys can do the pool stuff today. Today, I'm doing cheese board and astrology stuff, and I'm looking at this Sumerian hieroglyphics that are on the wall here. And all the pyramids all over the world are in here too. Astrology. I'm loving here. I'm just absorbing. You just got here, right? You just got here. Somebody else comes in. You're Mercury, fresh, new. You just got here. You're fresh. You're new. You're a baby to the room. You see what I'm saying? You got me? Yes, in the comments if you got me. Let me know. Let me know. Gouda's the monster cheese. That's I like how you put that. It is the monster cheese. Can be looked at that. So that's to explain the degrees with the early degrees and the latter degrees. It's a mastery. Got it. Thank you so much for putting that in the comments. Now I know I got someone with me. It's like an amen. When you say yes, it's like an amen. Mhm. All right. A critical degree, it's completion. For you Pisces, congratulations to you Pisces too, because you've completed a cycle of an important, muy importante cycle. For those who have the moon in Pisces, very important here. You're still here. The energy is still intense here. And for the realm of Pisces, right? And it's important for you to talk, communicate about how you feel, even if it comes out like gibberish. right? Find an outlet for that. Muy importante. It's a stretch. It's a stretch for you. But anyway, Saturn is at a completion rather degree. It deals with spiritual maturity. Saturn and Pisces here. I hope it's going to get to being graceful with yourself. Is it? I'm going to put that in there. It's not in my notes. I don't know why, but it's grace because Pisces is empathetic, being serious, Saturn, about having grace with yourself and forgiving yourself. Not for nothing, right? Establishment of emotional boundaries, right? Ever since December 21st, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, but it's still present because Saturn is the co ruler of Aquarius. So Saturn and Uranus are the two planetary energies that are highlighted by the sun. Kind of like if I'm hot and I touch you, right? Now you're hot. Same way that the sun is in Aquarius, now Saturn and Uranus are hot. Not for nothing. Not for nothing and for something at the same time. Responsibility and compassion, or having compassion with the responsible nature. Caring, right? My daughter lied to me the other day. She lied to me. She lied. I felt some kind of way. I wanted to yell, but I said, "Hang on, let me pause. Let me pump the brakes for a moment." Saturn, that's pumping the brakes because I care about her. Let me see how can I give her my goal is to really share with her how to grow from this moment. How do I do this? That right there is an action of Saturn and Pisces. How can I let me Skirsky's. How can I hmm how can I be more compassionate? So I broke it down to her. In the past, I would have had an hour and a half conversation and I would have circle talked. I would have circled, I would have, and she would have fell asleep, right? But I matured it. How can I? Hmm. So I decided to sum it up in 60 seconds. Okay, good. And when I was 30 seconds in, she already apologized. If I were to talk for an hour and a half, she wouldn't apologize. Because I condensed it into 60-second thing. Within 30 seconds, she apologized. And then we moved on. The energy wasn't heavy, right? It's lighter. Just an example. Just an example. Ending illusions that, my daughter lying to me is like, oh, I don't want her to ever lie. Skirsky's, everyone lies. It's a matter of recognizing the consequences when you do it. And by sharing it with you in a peaceful way, more compassionate way, however, maybe you'll see, I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that here. It's a safe space for me, not for nothing. Consult your psychologist. I'm not a psychologist neither. I don't know if she loves him. I don't know if she loves him, but I recognized the lightness in her. And after the conversation, I was like, ooh, that was good. I like that. I liked it. Anywho, it ended in an illusion that I had to talk to her for an hour and a half about lying. It was interesting because from that patience and maturity, spiritual maturity, which is and just it's another way in which to say maturity on the inside. I heard somebody else who is working and developing with that, and they're like, "Oh, you don't want your child to lie to you." And I said, Skirsky, I said, it's okay if my child lies. That's okay. That's natural. They're learning. She's learning how to maneuver in life, right? They said, you don't want her to grow up and lie. Eh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. If a criminal came into the house and they're like, where's your daughter right now? Oh, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know. So we gotta recognize the consequences. That's the consequence I'm ready to face. You know what I'm saying? My point is what I'm trying to say is that, you know what I mean? It's beneficial to take a step back, look at it, reflect. That's Saturn and Pisces, and that energy is still present. Now that the sun is in Aquarius, Aquarius is the sign of knowledge. And while the sun shines a light on now, there's realizations that we come to that they appear to come out of nowhere and they involve this. Have compassion with yourself a little bit. That's what I'm saying. Anywho, it's like the final exam. Ooh, oh, right? Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces, like a final exam. We're tested. Have you learned emotional discipline is a question. Don't answer that now. Wait, leave it. Ask yourself, rewind the video. Can you hold faith without escapism? Ooh, ooh, can you hold faith without escapism, without escaping? I could have escaped from the conversation with my daughter. I could have not had the conversation with her. I was a little fearful, a little bit. I was, honestly. I was like, I don't know if I should have this short conversation. She might not learn. Yeah, have it. Get in there. All right, let's do it. Can you structure your intuition? Ooh, setting time aside. Saturn is such a speaks volumes, time and spirituality. Setting time aside for yourself to be in this state where you activate the intuition. Beautiful. Repent and seek the Lord. We're repenting. We actually are here right now repenting, and we're asking for forgiveness in regards to forgiving ourselves. We are repenting. I want to do a sidebar for a moment and look at the root meaning of the word. Excuse me. What is the root meaning of the word repent? It must apply. I'm of the mind that everything is connected. Everything. The English word repent comes from Old French repentir, Latin repentier. Let's break that down. Pentier, to feel regret, to feel sorrow, to be dissatisfied in past action. So, excuse me, we're not repenting because I'm not feeling regret for the situation of talking to my daughter with a little more patience. I don't feel sorrow now. I don't feel sorrow in the root meaning of the word. I'm not dissatisfied with the past actions. I'm accepting them. I'm more accepting of them as opposed to repenting. I don't want to repent. When someone says, no entiendo. Mm-mm, mm-mm. What? I don't know what that means. Um, this is related to poina, penalty, consequence. So originally it meant to feel the weight of consequences. Again, I talked about this earlier. Yeah, I don't know what that is. What does that mean? You will be assimilated? Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. That's powerful. That's a powerful statement there. We'll get into that in a later video. We'll check that out. Anywho, um, send me an email. I don't know. Um, deeper original sense. Before religion reshaped the meaning and to confess your sins, the root idea was to rethink. Maybe we are repenting. We're rethinking, reevaluating, to feel differently after gaining awareness. I'll rethink that. I'll process that. Connection to Greek important. In early spiritual texts, the Greek word used is metanoia, meta, metanoia, beyond, nous, mind, beyond the mind. To repent, in its deepest sense, meant to change one's perception, to evolve one's thinking. Okay, evolve. No problem with that. To reconsider, to change the mind, to feel differently after awareness, to turn inward and reassess direction. Okay, maybe it's not so bad. To think again in a wiser way. Wonderful. Yes, like I said in the beginning, we're repenting. Perfect. Okay, now let's get back to the discussion. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that comment. Okay, so now here we are. Ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop. All right, we talked about Saturn. We asked those questions. Can you structure your intuition is where we left off. And now Saturn is preparing to enter Aries. Saturn moving into Aries. Saturn in Pisces is spiritual lessons. That was a spiritual lesson for me. Saturn in Aries is disciplined action. Hmm. Maybe perhaps repenting, right? Reconsidering, and now in taking action now that we've reconsidered, taking action on that which is right, repenting. Perfect. We move from feel and dissolve to act and initiate responsibly. Aries is about action. Aries is about action, not for nothing. It's the difference between surrender, Pisces, and courage, Aries. Aries is a courageous fire sign from water to fire. Notice how the coming out of the water turns into a fire and inspiration, kind of like a fish. Let's say that this is sea level, this is water level, right? And this is the fish. The fish, right? This is from Pisces, this is Aries. Let's let the air be Aries and the fish whoosh, swims out of the water, Aries, and splashes back into Pisces, the water. Not for nothing. That's what the symbolism of Pisces and Aries bringing. Even the symbol of Aries, the horns, if you will, is a coming out, right? If we look at one horn, not for nothing, it's the action of a fish swimming back into the water. That's pretty interesting. Dolphins, right, have this arc. Look at that symbolism that just came to us from the dolphin gods. Really? That's wild work, right? So, moving forward, right? We talked about this moving forward point. Not for nothing, ain't for something at the same time. We talked about how the moon is going from Sagittarius to Capricorn. Ow. Oh. The moon is going from Sagittarius to Capricorn. And it's passing this critical point, this solstice point. I talked about how maybe later on this afternoon, it might be a time to take a scan and check yourself before you wreck yourself. Saturn is also doing the same thing. It's crossing another pivotal point. This is the equinoctial point. Ideo me. Pisces to Aries tells a story. What does it tell? It tells about belief. It's the end of winter energetic. Pisces is an adaptable sign. It's mutable sign. It means it adapts. It's a little anxious. It's kind of all over the place. And then it steps into Aries. It's dominant, confident, courageous, right? That point, that 0 degree point. What I'm pointing to is I'm pointing to 0 degrees Aries because that's the point in the change and the shift from Pisces to Aries. That's what Saturn is um, from now to February 14th. Your Aquarius, your Valentine's present. Okay, so something to think about, something to consider. We can get into that a little bit more in depth in a later video. It's the difference between surrender and courage. I said that Valentine's timing makes it symbolic. Love must move from fantasy into action. Oh, bars. Love must move from fantasy, Pisces. Pisces is fantasy, into action, commitment. Ooh, I don't know who needs to hear that. 5 Moki. Thank you so much for your comment. So it's like gas. I say some comments are like get like $1. Your comment is like gas. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the refuel. Pause. Um, thank you. Let's define the root meaning of it. Define the root meaning of the word. I think it's hilarious. I think it's comical. Um, the reasoning of sameness, the relating of things that are the same in origin. It gets used in science, anatomy, linguistics, and philosophy. I don't even think the individual knows what they're talking about. In early Greek's usage, it meant to agree, to say the same thing, to acknowledge sameness. At its deepest root, correspondence based on shared origin. That's exactly what I'm doing. And it actually does get girls. It actually does get girls. It gets them. It allows me to have relationships with men too, people in my family, my brothers, sisters, cousins, grandma, auntie, you know, have some deep, in-depth conversations, with my daughter. It's brought my daughter and I closer. Dad, read my chart, Dad. Dad. My chart. She would look at me with a side eye if she looked at me if she'd seen this video. Dad, read my chart. Dad. Dad, read my chart, Dad. Dad, I was wondering if you're not busy later on today, can you read my chart? Dad, read my chart. Yes, daughter, I got you. Do they ever? I was wondering if that person really knows what the word means. Um, anyway, love the gas. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And so, um, did I finish this? No, I didn't. We're almost finished here. Thank you so much for your patience. So, um, love must move from fantasy into action. That's a banger right there. That's a post. Somebody post that. Tag me. Right? Saturn's ingress into Aries on Valentine's Day is like love moving from fantasy into actions. The end. Bar. CMOD. Do it. Do that video. Do a video with that. Say, by Cosmic at the end. Ding, and hit a bell. Tag me. I would like to see how that does. All right, Uranus. We're talking about Uranus here in Taurus now. This is part of it. And the reason why I'm talking about Uranus, I've talked about the moon in Sagittarius and Jupiter. I talked about the sun in Aquarius and Saturn. I talked about the sun in Aquarius and Uranus now. Ba-da-bop. Uranus in Taurus preparing to move into Gemini. We know when that's going to be now. We know that when that's going to be. We know it's going to be when the sun ingresses into Taurus. We have a timeline. April 24th-ish. A little bit before that, though. But in the Taurus season, let me double check that because it said 4 degrees. Let me double check that. Yes, April 24th. Okay, checked. Valid. Okay, bow. Keeps going down here. Okay. Uranus and Taurus has been disrupting. That's the one where I didn't use that word before. I said like a roller coaster. Money systems disrupted, but they're disrupted sometimes and they reach heights and sometimes they're at their lows. Security structures. Taurus is much about security. Value systems. Taurus is about value systems disrupted. The material world, sometimes disrupted. Welcome. Oh, if you're over here on TikTok, I haven't even been seeing y'all over here. I'm over on YouTube here. Come on over, subscribe. You're going to love it over here. I got a chart and everything over here. Appreciate you. Come through if you're into it. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate you. What else we got here? Okay, so these are some of the things that are disrupted for Tauruses, right? Maybe give your father a happy Father's Day. Your father's a Taurus, right? He's been experiencing some of these changes. If you look at your father's life, like, Dad, congratulations, Dad. You actually completed a Uranus cycle. He's gonna be like, what the hell? What do you mean? What the hell is a Uranus cycle? Well, Dad, if we look at you, sit down for a minute, Dad. Sit down. Here, let me bring you a glass of water because you've graduated. Dad. Dad, this is a serious time in your life. If you reflect, we can see all how life's been like a roller coaster, up and down financially. And as your daughter, I wanted to let you know I learned this from this brown guy on YouTube. Real cool guy, real cool guy. You got to meet him. And I just wanted to congratulate you, being that the zodiac sign Taurus deals with patience, Dad. Um, take deep breaths, take this time to appreciate all the work that you've done. He passed? Well, write him a letter. Write him a letter. He'll hear it. And if anything, it'll be something that's beneficial for you. Thank you for sharing that too. Thank you for sharing that. My condolences. And um, still, you can still do the same thing because it'll benefit you as well. Everything's connected. Never forget that. As it approaches Gemini, as Uranus approaches Gemini, disruption moves towards communication systems. Ooh, media, technology, information networks, education structures. Now, I think this is the shadowy side. I don't know why I took these notes with focusing on disruption. It is what Uranus is. It does disrupt things, right? That can be looked at as a bad thing, and it can also be looked at as a good thing, right? Disruption can be looked at as a way to maneuver in disruptive circumstances, which is what Taurus has learned about their values and their security systems. Not for nothing, right? We're shifting to change what we value. Taurus is valued to change what we think and what we communicate. We got to make a change here. That's big. So the full story of the sky, you have air, fire up top, Aquarius and Sagittarius. Aquarius, Sagittarius, water plus mutable dissolving below, Cancer, Pisces, Saturn and Pisces, Jupiter and Cancer. Jupiter and Cancer brought to you by the moon in Sagittarius because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. Saturn and Pisces brought by the sun in Aquarius, as Saturn is the co-ruler of Aquarius, right? Earth being shaken, right? Taurus, value systems. Taurus, Uranus, brought to you by the sun in Aquarius as the ruler of Aquarius. Cardinal fire to ignite, Aries, brought to you by this shift from Saturn in Pisces to Saturn in Aries. The shift there, Aries can be looked at as the igniter, not for nothing. Frenchie, hi, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for the thumb up and the subscription. You're going to love it here. Franklin, again, my YouTube name, if you put the at symbol in front of my name and squeeze the letters together, you'll find the code here. And I'm live right now. Same brown face, brownish reddish face on TikTok. Okay, come on over. We're waiting for. Hurry. Look out, China. Look out, China. I don't know what you mean by that. Anyway, thank you for the comment. This is transition energy, right? The transition of Saturn from Pisces to Aries, transition from Uranus to Gemini, which is the process up to April, right? It's going to take some time. Uranus is a slower moving planet. Sagittarius transitioning from, or excuse me, the moon transiting from Sagittarius, crossing over the solstice point. We also talked about Saturn crossing over the equinoctial point, big, on Valentine's Day. So vision is expanding. Vision, both Aquarius and Sagittarius have to do with vision. You know, they feed each other. Air feeds fire, bada pop. Emotional wisdom is deepening. Cancer, Jupiter and Cancer, deepened emotion, emotional intelligence. We talked about that. Saturn and Pisces, respect and boundaries. We talked about that. Old spiritual structures are completing. Saturn and Pisces, completion, 29 degrees, as opposed to the beginning of the degrees. We talked about me being in the conference room and the lazy boy with the cheese board while y'all are out at the pool. Some of you are upstairs in the mansion looking at the bedroom, doing whatever it is that you do. Come downstairs. There's an awesome cheese board. Readings are going to be starting in 5 minutes. Imaginatively. Responsible action is about to begin. Responsible action, the shift when Saturn ingresses into Aries, gets back in there. All right, perfect. You can follow me here, Chris. It's all good. Appreciate you. When you're ready. Systems of values are shifting towards systems of thought, value to thought. You know, that's so interesting too. I talked about how, sidebar, It's so interesting how we looked at how the moon's going from Sagittarius to Capricorn, crossing over the solstice point. We talked about how Saturn is getting ready to cross over from Pisces to Aries, the equinoctial point. And we can also look at the wave and the pattern, the transition from Taurus to Gemini. Even if Uranus is not there, if we're just looking at Taurus into Gemini, the values into the thought process, the things that we value and actually saying and gratitude, that's powerful there. That actually speaks volumes to the gratitude itself. When you value something, to speak about what it is that you value, the wave of understanding with astrology. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I appreciate that. Oh, you put a comment in there, right? I value that. And then I speak about the value. I speak about how it values me, how I find value with it. Like gratitude makes me think about gratitude. And then after you speak about it, the gratitude, then it's Cancer. Now you feel better, not for nothing and for something at the same time. Wow's in the comments. Wow. 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 Who is this brown guy? Anywho, in plain language, we are finishing an emotional and spiritual chapter so we can act more courageously and think more freely. Mm. We are finishing an emotional and spiritual chapter so we can act more courageously and think more freely. Hmm. We are finishing an emotional and spiritual chapter so we can act more courageously and think more freely. Hmm. We are finishing an emotional and spiritual chapter so we can act more courageously and think more freely. So I would repeat that 15 times. This brown guy is an awesome teacher. Brown guys in the comments. Who is this brown guy in the comments? All right. So here's a fluency drill that you can use that I created. Say this out loud. This is the time of expanding perspective while completing emotional lessons. Growth now requires both inner nourishment and disciplined action. Old illusions are dissolving so new leadership can emerge. The future demands courageous thinking. Now, you can build one sentence of your own that combines Aquarius vision, Sagittarius belief. I don't really got Sagittarius as belief. I don't know why I put that there. I got Sagittarius more as the wisdom, right? And the seeing, right? So like when I'm learning something, the teacher shows me the work and then I do the work. The teacher shows me, then I do it, right? Sagittarius is the teacher explaining and spreading things out. So I got that more as um the curriculum. Like if I'm taking a class, the curriculum would be uh uh a script of all the things that we're going to talk about. Like it spreads, makes me think of like a deck of cards, right? Makes me think of like in a deck of cards and I spread them all out so you can see all of them as opposed to them being all collected on top of each other. You dig what I'm saying? And when I looked at the root meaning of the word expansion, I think it was it expansion? Let's just do it again to be sure. What is the root meaning of the word expansion? Yes, it was expansion. The root meaning of the word expansion, expandere. Let's break that down. X out from, pendere, to spread, to stretch, to spread out, to unfold, to open up, right? If I have a deck of cards, I open up the deck of cards so you can see all of them. Charcuterie board. Is that what a cheese board is called? Wonderful. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Fuel. Um, right? So the teacher spreads it out for you and then you contemplate on it. Capricorn is a contemplation sign, right? Where you freeze and look at it, you're contemplating, you're focusing, you're meditating on it. You're looking at it being spread out, and then you apply a technique, Aquarius, then you try it, right? The teacher shows you, then you freeze, then you apply it, Now you're from Aquarius to Pisces is the now I believe it. Now I take action on it. Not for nothing. All right, so let's go back here. Ba-da-bop. Okay. Aquarius is the vision. Sagittarius is spreading it out so we can see the vision, right? Saturn is completion, right? See the vision, spreading it out, seeing the vision through spreading it out and completing change, completing a cycle. Let it flow. So Aquarius, Sagittarius, Saturn, Uranus, and Jupiter. I left out Jupiter there. So that's what I have. Any questions? Acknowledging paying forward on a scene loop. I rock with that. I rock with that. All right. Um, thank you for the double taps. Thank you for the likes. Are there any questions? Any questions? No? No questions? All right. Um, I'm the Cosmic Alchemist. I've been doing this for over 2.5 decades. Check my bio, subscribe, join my Discord. Well, you can't join my Discord. I got to fix the Discord thing. I'm just learning with the Discord. I'm still learning. Each live gets better. There's many ways to donate to the channel. Check out my bio. Click the buttons. Hit the notification bell. I got a test for myself. You guys, I got myself on a challenge. I got my own 90-day challenge to monetize here on YouTube by going live every single day. I need your help. So if you'd like to come, this is the time that I set aside because I'm placing myself in an uncomfortable environment, which is waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning so that I can share what it is that I love with you, so I can hit these metrics, so I can do this full time. This is the goal here. So I can share this, do readings at a remarkably smaller and lower rate instead of some of the higher prices that we get. The more of you that help and donate towards the channel, the more that I can do for you at an affordable rate. Bada bop. I gotta eat. You gotta eat. We all gotta eat. Bada bop. There's that. So this is what I'm sharing, and now I'm hungry, and I want to go on so much. Better. However, I'm listening to my body, and that the body keeps the score. Right? The stomach is calling. The stomach is saying, "Yo, end it, end it." And so with that, I appreciate all of you. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Um, stay tapped in. I do personal charts. You can reach. I even got my Telegram in the bio too. Reach out to me. Like, yo, I seen you on YouTube. I want to get a reading. We'll talk about it. We'll do a private chart. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the like on the live. If you're just getting here and you're into astrology, like the live, subscribe. You're gonna love it here. I got a ton of videos too, and I've been working on labeling them by sun moon, just for the record. So if you see the zodiac symbol in front of that, you'll see a zodiac sign. Like today, you've seen Sagittarius emoji in front of Sun in Aquarius, Moon in Sagittarius, and you'll see Sagittarius at the end. So I'm putting the emoji of the zodiac sign that the moon is in. So over the course of time, in 3 months, which is 90 days, 30, 60, 90, which is 30, which is, you know, you'll be able to see your sign twice or 3 times. So tap in. All right. All right. And I'll see you in the next video.